Now broadcasting from his hidden bunker and fully stocked bar, it is the Saturday Report with Colt Sebastian Taylor.
Thank you and welcome once again, my friends, to the Saturday Report with me, Colt Sebastian Taylor, adventurer, entrepreneur, and amateur international sensation. And welcome to AWSM Radio, an independent digital-only radio station playing today's best music, old school classics, along with a rotating cast of all-star DJs. AWSM Radio focuses on mainstream artists, independent artists, along with a variety of interesting talk and music shows throughout the day, such as mine. And all we do here is entertain, inspire, and inform. And my friends, I want to engage with you. I want you to be part of the conversation. So you can find me on the Twitter, on the Instagram, on the Rizzle, at Colt S. Taylor. And if you haven't already, you're a full bookmark. ColtSebastianTaylor.com for everything Colt Sebastian Taylor, day in and day out. All right then, my friends, let's get started with this week's Saturday Report. First up on the Saturday Report, some breaking news. This just into the Saturday Report news desk. It's my birthday. Yes, indeed. Thank you very much, my friends. What did you get me? Oh, your love and admiration. Well, that's entirely too much. I'm just happy you're here listening to me. So I was asked, I'm turning the big 40. I know I look like I'm a youthful 25, even 29, but don't let the red beard sprinkled with gray fool ya. I'm old. So I was asked, like, hey, what do you want for your birthday? Well, golly, you know what? I have everything I've ever needed. I have a secret bunker bar. I have a radio show on AWSM Radio. I have my Rizzle, my Twitter. I was interviewed by an Australian news program the other day. What more could I want? Maybe peace on earth, goodwill towards men. That everyone can know the joy of the song of a child's heart. Also, a new transmission from Hyundai. Yes, Hyundai, I haven't forgotten about you. No, it's my birthday, and you know what, Hyundai? I still haven't received a phone call from you. Even on my birthday, I would expect someone at the Golden Tower of Hyundai, high above the clouds, looking down on us peasants with our busted transmissions, and hey, you know, it's Colt's birthday. We should really pay for that crappy transmission that we had to get some lawsuits over. You should do that. Unfortunately, the Better Business Bureau, they weren't really able to assist me in my issues here, but they are researching a variety of lawsuits and settlements and seeing if any of those apply to me. Hey, that's what they're there for, my friends. So we'll see how that plays out. Regardless, I'm going to insist that my complaint remains on file with Hyundai for all to read. And you know what? I think I might just call them back on Monday and say, hey, you know, Mary said that corporate would call me. No phone call from Hyundai. Even on my birthday. I mean, it's a Saturday. I'm not doing a show all day long. I could get a phone call. I got a phone call yesterday. But alas, no phone call on my birthday from Hyundai, apologizing profusely for me having replaced my transmission in my Hyundai Tucson, 2016 Hyundai Tucson, transmission that has apparently been sort of replaced in future Tucsons because of a variety of issues with that. I mean, just Google Hyundai Tucson transmission lawsuit, and boy howdy, you'll get a lot of results. You'll get a lot of results indeed. But I won't let the shoddy craftsmanship of a transmission in my Hyundai Tucson rain on my parade. Certainly going to milk it for all the content as I want. But I'm going to have, after I wrap up the show today, going to have a great day out and about. I don't know if I've mentioned this, but I have been vaccinated. And so I'm going to hang out with my family, parts of them, at least the ones who have been vaccinated, and have just a delightful day. And my friends, speaking of vaccinations, if you haven't, you should really get it. I mean, everyone I've talked to who has gotten it has felt a little bad after the second shot. They're still here. They're not being followed by the government. They're not dying off in mass. Although, I'll tell you what, Bill Gates has come to my house like 8 times, which is weird. Him and George Soros have both come to my house. We've hung out. Nice folks. I mean, I'm just kidding. Just kidding. I'm just kidding, conspiracy theorists. But you should get them. So if you wanted to have one birthday wish from me, you can give me something this year. Obviously, top of the list, $5 million. Next, Hyundai transmission. After that, take care of yourself. Be healthy. Get the shot. And, because I want you back here every week. All right, time to move on. First up, some unfortunate sad news in the music world. Rapper DMX has passed away at the age of 50. He apparently overdosed last week, and his brain was deprived of oxygen for about 30 minutes. Rushed to the hospital, but brain function never really returned. And over the course of the week, did a variety of tests, and there wasn't much going on there, and his organs began to fail on Thursday, and then he finally passed Friday, I believe, shortly after noon. That's when the news came across my news desk, at least. Born Earl Simmons, he was a notable rapper. Began doing music back in the 80s, performing with Ready Ron, while also serving time behind bars, apparently. Got his really, really into his own stride in the 90s. Signed with Columbia Records. He appeared on records with Jay-Z, LL Cool J, amongst others, and like I said, really, really got into his stride in the late 90s with his Rough Riders debut in the studio album It's Dark and Hell is Hot. It was a mainstream hit and critical hit, and it sort of launched his career from there. He also dabbled a wee bit into the movies. He was in Romeo Must Die, where he was opposite of Jet Li, as well as also the late Aaliyah. And then he was also in a few more movies: Exit Wounds, Cradle to the Grave, Never Die Alone, Last Hour. But unfortunately, he had run-ins with various legal issues, weapons, drugs, DUIs. He served 12 months in the last few years for tax evasion. The tax is going to be tricky. And he was making a bit of a comeback, actually. His sort of last big appearance was in July 2020, when him and Snoop Dogg faced off in a versus battle on Instagram Live and had 500,000 views. But unfortunately, this week, his challenges with drug addiction led to an overdose, and he passed away at the age of 50. He is survived by 15 children. No, not all by the same person. He has had many relations over the years, but he had, his family portrait is quite large. It's quite large, but unfortunately, DMX has passed away once again at the age of 50. I'm sure his music will have a nice little resurgence now. People listening to many albums over the years. Maybe even watch Romeo Must Die again if you want to throw back to the early 2000s, see what movies were like back then. But some sad news today. So I mean, this may not surprise you. I don't listen to a whole lot of rap music, but he was an accomplished artist, leaves behind a large family. So very sad to hear about that today. And unfortunately, I must continue with additional sad news of a notable passing. And as you know, also yesterday, earlier in the day, there was an announcement of the passing of Prince Philip. The husband of Queen Elizabeth II passed away at the age of 99, 2 months shy of his 100th birthday. The longest-serving consort in British royal history. He is descended from the Greek and Danish royal families, served in World War II, also known for his Duke of Edinburgh Award, which was known as a self-improvement program for young people ages 14 to 24. He often, as the husband of Queen Elizabeth II. He often quipped that he was the most accomplished plaque unveiler in the world. When Queen Elizabeth would go to events and unveil a plaque, he would be often the one removing the curtain from said plaque. Portrayed in The Crown by many different actors, also in movies and whatnot. But he was 99 years old, which is, if you imagine, he was born in 1921. If you imagine the changes in society, like obviously no one remembers when they were 1, 2, 3, but like even 1931, 10 years old, you somewhat remember when you're 10 years old. Imagine the changes he has witnessed throughout time. Air travel, computers, World War II, space travel, YouTube, video calling. I mean, he spanned a very, very long life and whatnot. Won't get into too much of his life because you could read biographies, but what I find interesting is that, he is obviously was old for a while, and the royal family over there does have plans for their funerals. They do have these sort of plans in place. He sort of went over with officials like what he wants to happen when he passes away, and is known as Operation Fourth Bridge. So right now, it was announced early Friday morning. All the British news sort of stopped broadcasting for a special announcement from Buckingham Palace announcing that he had passed away. They also have a plan of when Queen Elizabeth II passes away. They have it all in place. In fact, all broadcasters, BBC, Sky News, all of them, all the major newscasters have a black suit or black attire waiting for them at the newsroom so that when this announcement comes, they can quickly change out of their clothes and put on morning clothes. And it's actually, they rehearse this every once in a while, not only like the military funeral, but like they do these practice runs. They have all these pre-packaged new stuff ready to go that they update every once in a while. And it's amazing how coordinated they are with this sort of stuff. So now that he has passed away, everyone on there will be wearing black on the news during the time of mourning. Also, there'll be no legislation passed because the Queen has to officially assent to all legislation saying, yep, I approve of this. It's more of a formality than anything else. But there'll be no legislation passed in the times of mourning. The royal website has been cleared of all content and just posted the announcement of his passing. Flags will be lowered to half staff. Various royal families around the world are expressing condolences. Apparently his funeral that he planned, he wants it to be not to be much of a fuss, so to speak. So probably have a somewhat simple military funeral and will be buried. So certainly condolences to the royal family out there this weekend. Always hard when you lose a father and grandfather, but he certainly lived a very long life. And then if you want to, I've watched this a few times. There's actually quite a few documentaries about what happens when a monarch passes away in the United Kingdom. It's interesting. Like, for example, wherever the monarch is, king, queen, wherever, their flag flies above wherever they are, usually a castle. When that person passes away, the flag is immediately lowered because the king and queen they're no longer there. And apparently there's a code word that goes out when the queen passes away, that's called London Bridge has fallen, and that's the code word that everything is popped into action about what's going on. British news is informed, things fall into place, sports games are canceled, the prime ministers and governor generals of the Commonwealth are informed. It's quite a amazing system they have put together for when this happens. I mean, when I shuffle off this mortal coil myself, Probably won't be that much fuss about it. I would hope there'll be a state funeral. There probably won't be. But anyways, you should be checking that out this weekend, the weeks to come, if you are fascinated by those sort of things, as I am. But anyways, just to recap, Prince Philip, the husband of Queen Elizabeth II, monarch of the United Kingdom and the Commonwealth, has passed away 2 months shy of his 100th birthday at the age of 99. We now go from the royal family to America, to elections. A great tradition here in the United States elections. We all go out and we vote twice a year, or, well, some people vote twice a year. In some states, if you're not a Republican or a Democrat, you don't vote in the primaries. But here's a question for you. Much like the old phrase, if a tree falls in the forest and no one's there, does it make a sound? If they have an election and no one shows up to vote, is there an election? Well, funny you should mention that, because in a Missouri town, they had an election this week, and no one showed up to vote, including the candidates who were on the ballot of said election. Yes, there were people on a ballot for an election, and not even the candidates showed up to vote. So this took place in called La Russell, Missouri, in Jasper County, and population 70, and no one came to show up. There were 2 people running to fill open seats in the La Russell Board of Trustees, and they were running unopposed, mind you. So if they would have shown up and voted for themselves, they would have won, but they didn't. And here's the thing, officials there aren't quite sure what to do now. Like, if no one shows up and no one votes, so there's no winner, but there's also no loser. So they're not quite sure how to figure that out or how to fill the seats. So they have to consult with the state law and some lawyers in the state capitol and say, what do we do here when no one, literally no one won. No one won because no one showed up. Also on the ballot was annexing themselves into a fire protection district, which is a thing out there where they have zones of fire company coverage. It's not very common in the East Coast here. I don't even know how common it is around the world, but I know it's very common out there. But that's where that is. Now here's the thing. You probably say, Colt, that's silly. Why? Surely everyone would see this is the town hall in La Russell says vote here. Well, it's not as simple as that. Apparently, the voters in La Russell have to travel 7 miles to a neighboring town to vote in Sarcoxy, which I'm probably saying wrong. So, they've got to drive 10, 20 minutes to go vote somewhere else, so no one lives near a voting place, I guess. And apparently the election was very poorly advertised. Wasn't advertised. I mean, it wasn't advertised, so people, I guess, didn't know. This article I'm reading here from Newsweek, they quoted John Carver, resident of La Russell for 50 years, said he didn't see any flyers about the election. Quote, I worked until about 10 p.m., Carver said. It was too late to drive to Sarcoxy to vote. I work in the field and do whatever, run parts for semis, whatever it takes to keep things going. Plus, hardly anyone knew about the vote. It was funny. Then Deborah Burton, La Russell City Clerk and wife of Mayor Rich Burton, said her husband was in the hospital until Wednesday after he became ill last week. I was there with them, so I guess we didn't throw up the flag and let everyone know there was an election, so nobody went. I don't know what to think. So I find this very interesting because I am an election official. I am a judge of elections here in Pennsylvania. What does that mean? It means twice a year I go to a firehouse, sit there for 13 hours, and help people vote, basically. This last election was quite busy. I think I talked about it on my broadcast after the election. This is an off-year primary, so I'm bringing a book. I expect turnout to be 10-20% as opposed to 60 to 80% of last year. So it'll be slow. Fun fact, though, at least where I am, my position that I have is an elected position. So if someone wanted to run against me, they could. It's not a position everyone usually does. So come November, if me and 3 other people write my name in, kablam, reelected as judge of elections. So hopefully that at that election, I will definitely be at that election. Here's the thing that I don't quite understand. Like, I don't know how Missouri elections work, but would there be someone there at the polling place that would vote for them that live there? So I guess if they have to travel to a different town to vote, that no one from that town is actually at the polling place to vote. Like, when I do my elections, I vote there because I work in the district. So it's weird, very weird. I thought the story was funny. If no one shows up, doesn't an election count? I guess they'll have to consult state law. Here's another riddle, my friends. If a DJ goes to a party and no one shows up to the party, is it a party? Or is it just a guy playing music in a big room by himself? Well, one person who does not know the answer to that, it's my pal, DC, because he never attends anywhere where no one shows up. In fact, when he shows up, people come to him, and we are lucky to have him here on AWSM Radio for his show, DC Live in Effect. He mixes it up on Friday nights here at AWSM Radio, 9 p.m. on Fridays, 10 p.m. on Sundays. You do not, my friends, you do not want to miss out while he smashes it on the ones and twos. He kicking the beats from his South Florida compound week in and week out. I tell you what, if he was on the ballot, he would sweep the vote as the preferred DJ of everyone around the world. He's that good. He's my pal. You should definitely listen to him. Once again, listen to DC Live in Effect, not Saturdays, Fridays at 9 p.m., Sundays at 10 p.m., right here on AWSM Radio. Moving along, friends, Yahoo Answers, which if you've been, on search engines, often pops up when you're asking random questions that don't quite have web pages dedicated to them, is shutting down after 16 years. It is an amusing and often frustrating Q&A platform. They don't always give you the really good answers there. But it is shutting down permanently on May 4th. It has fallen out of use. It's not very popular as it once was, so they're shifting resources to other projects. So basically, you can still post and answer questions up until April 20th, 10 days from now. And then it'll be read-only mode after May 20th until May 4th. And then on May 4th, it will be shut down. For those who have frequently used that service and want to download their data, they'll have information on there. And let's see here. If you can download a copy of their entire database by sending them requests by June 30th. By July 1st, all Yahoo data answers will be deleted and no longer available. So once a very popular thing, Yahoo Answers, there's several other services out there where people post questions and then other people who are experts will chime in with their answers. Quora, I think, is one of them. But Yahoo Answers has come to an end. I don't even know the last time I saw Yahoo Answers pop up on my end, to be honest with you. So not as popular as it once was. So they are wrapping up. May even surprise you to know that Yahoo is still a business, but they're still kicking. I don't know if people still use Yahoo to search. Does anyone still use Yahoo to search? Mostly Bing and Google, right? But their answer division is now shutting down. So goodbye, Yahoo Answers. You did quite a good job, kind of answering questions people had. Changing gears. As you may know, my friends, I am a handsome redhead. If you haven't seen my picture on the Twitter and whatnot, it's all red curls and whatnot. Don't quite have a profile on AWSM Radio yet, but once I'm on there, you'll see red hair. Well, scientists have discovered that redheads feel less pain. Why, you ask? Is it because we're soulless monsters? No. is because we're constantly ridiculed because we're so handsome and pretty, and society rejects us, so it has made us hard and unfeeling and uncaring over time? No, although that does happen. It's because, actually, as strange as it may seem, it's our skin. As you may know, those of a pale variety like myself, we sunburn rather easily. We just don't tan. I myself sunburn underneath the full moon. I gotta be careful and go outside. But that way that pigment works in our skin, that does not allow us to really bronze, just more turn into a lobster, also impacts pain receptors. And so we physically feel less pain than other people because our skin, the skin that is easily susceptible to sunburn also doesn't transmit pain as effectively as other people's skin, which I think is actually quite quite odd. And I have no scientific or anecdotal evidence to talk about that. I've never, been punched by someone else and someone else got punched the same, and we compared how we felt and whatnot. But apparently, because of my skin that often causes me of a red or pink complexion, that deadens, but sort of reduces the pain receptors as well, and we feel less pain. Also, speaking of redheads, and this is not doing with our skin per se, but because we are redheads, apparently it requires a bit more numbing and anesthesia when we do dental procedures, because redheads need a little bit more oomph to numb a tooth or a cheek when they're working on our teeth, because we just feel that a whole lot more. Well, I don't feel it more, but like the anesthesia, the numbing cream isn't as effective on our teeth or our bodies as other people. And I think this extends to also anesthesia in general, that they're finding that redheads need just a little bit more to put them down because it's not as effective on us. What did I say? It's a curse and a blessing and whatnot. But I found that to be interesting, that this cursed skin that burns so easily also, I guess, makes us invulnerable to pain. No, wait, that's I should not make that claim whatsoever. Not a medical doctor. But apparently we feel physical pain a little bit less. So, But hey, emotional pain still cuts deep, maybe even deeper. So watch yourself. It's my birthday. Be nice. Keeping with the crimson theme of our next story, ketchup, one of the world's most popular condiments. Put it on hamburgers, hot dogs, eggs, everything. There's a shortage. There's a shortage of ketchup. Quick, folks. Rush your grocery stores. Break down their doors. Hoard the ketchup. It's not about toilet paper. Toilet paper was 2020. Paper towels were 2020. This year, it's all about ketchup. Get as much as you can because, no, I'm kidding. Listen, yes, there's a ketchup shortage, but not like the material of ketchup, like the ketchup paste. Like, you can go to the grocery store and buy a bottle of ketchup for home use, but there's a ketchup packet shortage, impacting stores like Long John Silver, any place where you would get a packet of ketchup. There's a shortage. There's a shortage of ketchup packets. That's really hard for me to say. There's too many T's, but it's like hurting stores like Long John Silver, Texas Roadhouse, and fast food places. And why ketchup packets? Is there a packet shortage? No, friends. Yes, there is, but for a reason you may not realize. First, several reasons. One, Suez Canal has impacted the shipment of the materials of this stuff. As I don't know if I mentioned last week, but they finally got the Suez Canal unstuck, but it was all holed up there for about a week, so a lot of shipments got sort of jammed up in that bottleneck. And also the usage of ketchup packets have skyrocketed over the last year because a lot more people are doing takeout, obviously, and they put ketchup into there. And then when people are dining in, guess what they're not putting on the tables? ketchup bottles that everyone uses. So rather than having to clean those every single time, restaurants are giving ketchup packets to people, so like self-serve, single-use packets, so people can have ketchup and not have to worry about COVID-19 being transmitted by people touching stuff and sharing, communal ketchup bottles. So there is a shortage. There's a shortage of ketchup packets because their use has skyrocketed during the pandemic, which, again, much like toilet paper flying off the shelves and bread that first few weeks, this is another area where the supply is becoming very tight. Heinz Tomato Ketchup Company, the Heinz people, said they're trying to increase production by 25% to keep up with demand. Obviously, they want to be mindful. They want to be mindful of not investing too much money into production increases. And you don't want to be able to produce, X, let's just say a billion ketchup packets a year when after the pandemic, you only need 200 million. So they're trying to increase production, but also, not so much that they're wasting money when the pandemic, wraps up, hopefully this year. But they're trying to increase production. A lot of places are experiencing shortages. So if you are ordering takeout and they only put one packet in there, you're like, oh man, they're pretty cheap with these packets here. There's a reason, and it's the pandemic. So you may want to just do yourself a favor right now. Buy one from the grocery store and just sort of put it in the fridge so you have ketchup at home. Because they're probably saving them for people dining in because they don't want to put out the regular ketchup bottle. So I thought that was very, very interesting. Another COVID-19 related shortage. Also, just tailspins into another story right now. There are several car companies who are shutting down production of cars. Why? Non-COVID-19 pandemic breakouts. Not because people aren't buying cars. There is a microchip shortage. Yeah, so cars today, much like the Hyundai Tucson, they're filled with things that weren't there years ago. One thing is microchips. Sometimes a bad transmission, even of a Hyundai Tucson, but we're not going back there. But a lot of them have microchips, and microchips come from overseas, obviously. And those factories have been impacted by COVID-19 pandemic. They can't put as many people in factories as they used to. They've had to shut down factories a few times because a lot of people got sick. The Suez Canal held up a bunch of microchip shipments to car company factories. So there are just a lot of reasons why microchips are in short demand, and so some of these car companies can't finish their cars on the production line because they don't have the microchips to put into them. So they expect them to pop back, restart in next few weeks, but they'll have to shut down for a few days or a few weeks until the raw materials of microchips gets to these factories so they can complete their cars. Man, imagine having a Long John Silver inside one of these car companies. You don't have any microchips or any ketchup packets because high demand and COVID-19. If you think about how this pandemic has impacted supply chains around the world, I feel like we're relatively lucky that the only thing we have to worry about in 2021 is just ketchup packets and microchips. We've managed to weather this supply chain, at least, fairly well in terms of getting people the things they need. It's a little rough there for people with toilet paper and bread, but now that that's sort of leveled out as well. So anyways, wanted to bring you those two stories of shortages, weird shortages caused by not only the Suez Canal being blocked for about a week, but also just pandemic-related shortages. But if there's one thing that remains unaffected by the pandemic or the Suez Canal in terms of there being a shortage, it's the rock sessions. Always a high supply of the rock sessions here at AWSM Radio. It is our drive time show, making sure that your commute home is fun, hosted by my personal friend and pal, Rox. She's going to play the hottest music on the charts and has some surprises in between. She will make it rock style, right here on AWSM Radio. Probably ask yourself, Colt, I have no microchips. Colt, I have no ketchup packets. Colt, oh, dear goodness, Colt, where can I get my shipment of the rock sessions? Well, friends, 5 days a week here on AWSM Radio, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, 5 p.m. to 7 p.m., The Rock Sessions. Tune in, you'll enjoy it. Hosted once again by my friend Rox, right here on AWSM Radio. Next, my friends, we go to baseball. No, not the All-Star Game or the draft, or how people who rail against cancel culture now have their own boycott lists because those are different. Funny how that works, right, folks? No, I'm talking about Babe Ruth, legendary home run hitter. If you like baseball, you know who Babe Ruth is. I think Babe Ruth is pretty much known from around the world for the most part. Well, Babe Ruth, he knew how to hit baseballs. He also did not know how to be faithful to his wife. He had a mistress, actually quite a few. And a letter from Babe Ruth to his mistress sold for $201,000 and change at SCP Auctions. It was discovered in the scrapbook of Nell Wilson, who was Babe Ruth's mistress while he was members of the New York Yankees. So it was written on hotel paper. His letter to her was, "Dear Nell, sorry, but my wife jumped over on me without me knowing it. This is the first time she ever did that. She is watching me, so don't get mad, and I will see you Monday night. The club is watching, so the only way I'll be able to see you all night is for you to stop at the Adrian Hotel, and I can see you. Babe." So, obviously, I mean, they didn't have email back then, so his wife wasn't checking his email. Apparently, Ruth and Woodford married in 1914. When he was just 19 years old. They separated in 1925, but did not divorce because they were both devout Catholics. Apparently, she died in 1929 in a house fire in Massachusetts. It's kind of mysterious. And then Ruth would later marry model Claire Merritt Hodgson in April 1929. So 4 months after his former wife died in a house fire, he got married again. It was last sold in 2004, over 15 years ago, for $86,000. So whoever bought that and then sold it doubled their money and more. So Babe Ruth. So maybe one day someone's email printout of a mistress email will sell for that much. Probably not, but it's probably more for Babe Ruth's signature in it because he signed it. In his handwriting more than anything else. So, thought that was interesting, and I got a chuckle of reading what he wrote to his mistress. Finally, this week, folks, if you're living in Freiburg, Germany, look out for some escaped monkeys. About 20 to 25 Barbary macaque monkeys escaped from a zoo in Lofringen. During zoo construction, when zookeepers were unable to keep them in their cages, and they were unable to recapture them, and so they are running about Germany right now. I don't know if they're pack animals. They are not so much a danger to the public. They're more likely to flee if they see people, but they obviously want to get them back into the zoo. If you are out and about, you do see a monkey strolling about Germany, you should probably call police. And then they'll hopefully corral them and get them safely back into the zoo. Boy, I don't know if that zoo contractor's going to get a bonus. Well, my friends, that just about wraps up this week's Saturday Report with me, Colt Sebastian Taylor. Thank you for joining me this week. Remember, you can, as always, find me on the Twitter, the Instagram, and the Rizzle at Colt S. Taylor. Feel free to engage with me on there and let me know if there's a story I should be covering or if you something you don't like. I just like the attention anyways. And of course, if you want to catch up on all things Colt Sebastian Taylor related, you should bookmark ColtSebastianTaylor.com. It's just updated weekly-ish, and that's just the place to go. So, my friends, I'm going to enjoy the rest of my birthday. I hope you enjoy the rest of your weekend. And until next time, my wonderful listeners and my wonderful friends, I'm Colt Sebastian Taylor, and I'll see you later. Maybe buy the cake. Pretty good cake. I'm gonna go have some cake. Have a good one.